Welcome back to Public Administration. For Module 12, we are going to continue with our paper. So this is the very last section that you'll work on for the paper. And once you have this done, you can throw all five together and stitch together your paper from this, from the five parts you have already. So this section actually, we're just going to read the chapter, the textbook, and do the quiz like we did last week, and you're going to continue on the discussion from last week. So I want you to have at least 6 different responses to the discussion on at least 3 different days, and then you're going to complete, like I said, the last section of the paper. So this will be the last subheading, I guess, on policy enforcement. And for this week, we're going to look at a public administrator. So you're going to look at a bureaucrat named Frances Perkins, who actually has had a huge impact on public life in America. So if you're not familiar with her, and unfortunately a lot of us aren't familiar with her, it's a good chance to identify with somebody who's actually done some big things, and you're going to have a discussion looking at her. So you're going to look at her contributions to the public. So just moving down, I'll show you what we have here. So we have the policy enforcement and evaluation section, and so here is the end. So as you go through looking at a policy, no matter how big or small it is, you have to determine if you have actually done anything to actually work on the problem that you identified. And so at this point, you're going to identify the possible consequences of the policy that you have chosen to implement. So you're going to discuss how you are going to determine if you have addressed the problem successfully. And this is the end point for this model of looking at policy, implementing policy, but this endpoint leads right back to the beginning. And so you start all 5 stages again. And the discussion out of Delft is that a public administrator is constantly working through this cycle, even at a very fast pace. And so I will go through that again next week. But have this last section done, and then I will give you the directions on how to turn this into the paper you need for the class. So I have 3 videos that you're going to watch, and this is 2 of them are from Democracy Now!, so it's the same episode, it's just broken down. And the last one is from MSNBC, but it's a discussion about her. And I normally don't put clips from network news on my classes, but Lawrence O'Donnell actually, I think, does a very good discussion of Frances Perkins on his show. And so, you'll click on this, and you'll have the discussion questions that you'll answer about Perkins. I don't have that up yet, but it will be up with the class. And lastly, you'll have the quiz, and then there's a link to the Frances Perkins Center, so you can get more information on this individual. But like I said, as a public administration student, she is somebody that we should all be aware of. And if you're a human service student, I would argue that as a bureaucrat, she's had more of an impact on policy than probably anybody else. So she's a really big thinker. And unfortunately, like a lot of other big thinkers, she was ignored and hasn't gotten her rightful place in history. But I do want you to discuss her, and we'll move on from there. So if you have any questions on this policy enforcement, go ahead and get back to me. Otherwise, have a great week, and maybe I'll probably put up a video earlier than next Sunday discussing the upcoming paper. So the paper you'll turn in, like I said, will be a stitching together of these 5 drop boxes. You're going to expand on some and maybe shorten some other ones, but together they will give you a model of looking at how to deal with policy. And when I say policy, I'm talking about policy on the bureaucratic level. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me, and I will be glad to get back to you. Thank you so much.